If you are a parent of a college student, I know that it can be scary. Or if they haven't left yet, if you have a high school senior, maybe you're already starting to feel a little anxious about this big change, not just for your student, but for you as well. In today's video, we are tackling one of these huge life transitions, parenting a student that is heading off to college or is already there. I'm going to share some practical tips and advice to just help you adjust, but also help your child adjust, your student adjust, and so that you both can thrive in this new chapter. Now, make sure you hit subscribe because every week we have a new strategy to help your family work towards a debt-free degree. And even this topic actually falls into that, because if your student can succeed in college and beyond, then that can save a lot of money because we don't have someone failing out. We don't have a student transferring. We can save a lot of costs there. They also, if they're thriving, could possibly continue applying for scholarships and winning more and more money each year. So this actually does fall into ways to save on college and ways to make money for college. So again, make sure you hit subscribe. Now, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, and I founded the scholarship system where we redefine paying for college to help families build strong financial futures rather than ones where they're paying on student loans for decades to come, like most families. Our bread and butter is scholarships. We've helped families secure well over $13 million to date, but we realize there are so many other strategies that complement scholarships, and that is why we want to talk about this topic today. So let's jump in. First and foremost, it's important to let them fly, but be nearby. I know it's cheesy, but it's true. Giving your students space to grow and make their own decisions and mistakes will only help them succeed. We don't want to be a helicopter parent emailing professors for them, or definitely not submitting assignments, but we also want to push them to stay at school, right? I remember when I was in college, there were always a few students that would head home every weekend because they missed their parents, and I know the parents were probably happy to see them, but they didn't make near the connections that we did, those of us that stayed at the dorms most of the time. And even I went home now and then, especially when I needed help with some laundry. But that said, parents making sure their students actually engaging and staying present in the university experience can really make a difference. Another thing with this is, yes, being involved but not doing for them could be asking them questions like, how do you think you can handle this, versus just immediately offering advice and solutions. So going off that, the second one is communication. Communication is key. So the one thing that I see here, though, is a lot of parents are shocked at how little they hear from their students. So maybe setting some expectations ahead of time can really help with that. Maybe it's a once a week FaceTime, maybe a check-in chat every night that they're home in bed, whatever it is that you need. I don't think that's actually realistic now I think about it, but some kind of check-in, whatever it is that you both can agree on. You don't want to be picking up the phone, constantly calling them. We want to respect their schedule and their newfound independence and let them have time to themselves, right? The nice thing is that with technology, it is so easy to stay connected these days. You might even be able to put something on the calendar between the two of you, like a weekly call. Okay, the third one is to embrace the change yourself. So for some of you, this might be empty nest. For some of you, you might still have other children at home and not much has changed. But still, acknowledging and processing your own feelings around this can make a big difference. In fact, actually, someone on our team, she has 3 students, 2 of which are in college. So now it's down to 1 left at home. And she was saying how at first it seemed so oddly quiet, but now when the other 2 come home, it's like chaos. And they're just like, you guys are interrupting our life here. Like, what happened to our quiet 1-child home? So they've definitely acclimated. But that said, still, you need to acknowledge that it's going to be a change no matter what. This could be a great opportunity to rediscover hobbies, reconnect with your partner or old friends, set new goals, do some soul searching, maybe join a group or pursue something that you've always wanted to do and find a group around that. We actually have a whole video on empty nest syndrome, so I'll link to that in the description. We've got 5 tips for you there, so check that out if you are an empty nester now or will be soon. Okay, the fourth one is to encourage responsibility. Teaching your student how to handle finances, managing their time, how to advocate for themselves, how to call the doctor themselves. These are skills that somehow slip by for a lot of families, but are so important. These are great things that you can start in high school. So if your student hasn't already shipped off to school, start now. It could be things like discussing essentials like rent or groceries, savings, credit card accounts, managing that, even setting up just a simple budget and helping them manage it, check in with them on it. That can be great practice for when they head off to school. Another one could be cooking. So teaching them how to make some little things that they'll be able to cook in the dorm room. Another way to encourage responsibility is to teach them how to bring in money for school. So one way could, of course, be a part-time job. It's proven that students that have less than 20 hours a week of a part-time job actually tend to have higher GPAs. It makes them focused. It requires time management, and it just makes them dial in on the expectations around them. But another way is to actually push them to apply for scholarships, of course. So this is something that students can do all throughout college. Every single year, I got more and more money. So if you want some advice there, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar and register for our free training. I really recommend parents and students actually attending that together so that you can be on the same page. So again, it's thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, or you can find the link in the description, or you can click it here. Okay, I just have 2 more for you. Next one is to stay informed, but without hovering. You can learn about school resources. That way you can point your student to them. If your student is struggling, this could be mental health services, there could be academic support, it could be career counseling. There are so many opportunities at most colleges these days, especially with those massive student activities fees. So you being aware of them as a parent, you can actually recommend them to your student, because I know even myself as a student, after my first year was an orientation leader, and I learned about so much that I had no clue about as a freshman, probably because I was overwhelmed during my own orientation. So for parents, you can probably keep a better eye on things like that. At the same time, we also want to trust them to know when it's needed. So recommending it, but not pushing them beyond where they're ready to take action. So instead of saying you need to go to the tutoring center, maybe you could say, I heard there's a great tutoring center on campus, and making it more of a suggestion versus a command. Now, for those of you that are in our programs, you know that we bring in Dr. Maggie Ray. She's a psychologist for teens and young adults, and she has so many incredible tips around how to communicate with your students and how to have tough conversations and how to make them the pioneer of their life and make it more a partnership versus you pushing them. So if you are in our portal under Debt Free Degree Lab, the sister program, you can find that under, I believe, stage 1. You'll see Dr. Maggie Ray interviews. Okay, and the last one is huge, and this is to celebrate the wins and to really support them through the struggles. So celebrating any kind of wins, big or small. We do this in the scholarship system with our community. We give out prizes every single month. And one of the winners was someone who actually just figured out how to get our calendar synced up with theirs so they don't miss any of our Q&A calls. And I know this was a huge feat for them because she is not tech savvy and she was emailing us and trying to figure it out. In the end, she did. And so actually she was our winner for that month, because we know it was such a challenging task, but it's a huge one because adding that to her calendar, her and her daughter can attend things and therefore can implement tips through the scholarship system and therefore increase their chances of winning money. So we know that that one struggle, overcoming it, is actually going to lead to probably a lot of money down the road. So big or small, okay? This is where we want to acknowledge things that our students doing, even if it's something little like setting up a planner or creating an iCal and putting all their classes on it. So any kind of accomplishment should be celebrated. It can also be, of course, acing a tough exam or finding a study partner, sending them a little care package before exam week. That might be a sweet idea. So that said, if you're a parent and you have a student that already headed off to college, or even if you've been doing other research and you have a tip that I didn't share, please share it below for other parents that are possibly struggling or fearing sending their student off. Share your tip below, or let me know which one was your favorite that I covered. Comment below with that. So just a quick recap. There were 6 different areas that I think as a parent you can help support your student in the transition to college. Even if they're already there, I think these are extremely helpful. Don't forget that scholarships never end. even when your student is already in college. So make sure that's an aspect of it. Again, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar for my training on how to get started with it. And you can work with them. We even have tips on how to collaborate from afar. But having a little patience through this big transition can definitely be helpful for you and your child. But just remember that it's a big transition, not just for them, but for you as well. So preparing for it really can make it a lot easier and maybe even exciting. All right, don't forget to hit subscribe. We have new tips for you and your family every single week. I'll see you in the next video.